Tryhards landed an up-close and personal experience with their favorite vampires and werewolves at the official Twilight Saga fan convention in Burbank.
That's the best part about this movie. Sometimes when you're in it and you're creating the character, you don't really get to understand sort of what the phenomenon is, and being able to interact with the fans, then you're like, oh, get it. And then you have this weird connection because you're on one side and they're on the other, and then it's kind of like a cool fusion of those two worlds. So this is probably the awesome part of Twilight.
The costume contest is today. This one fan built a yellow Porsche, and I think it's strapped to her, and she was Alice, so it looked like she was driving this Porsche. It was so good.
I have tried to be as available as possible to the fans. I think they are the reason we are here, and you know why Twilight is so big. So I've always tried to give back to the fans. I was prepared for something big to happen to me in my life, so I put some hard work into sort of setting up my career. But I mean, I could not imagine if this is as big as it gets, really. I mean, there weren't too many roles out there, in fact there were 3 roles out there which could propel me forward to the extent it has done. You know, given the amount of screen time I've actually had in this franchise, I could still, the amount of like benefits I've got from being in Twilight, it's been unbelievable. I think the moment I remember when I was a pinch me moment was when I was first on set that first day for New Moon, and I was just like standing there and I just had a moment of like presence, and I'm like, whoa, man, like how did I get on this? How did I get into Twilight?
And first place goes to, come on, Al, there you go. Gonna lead the last.
When it comes to die-hard fans, these actors have experienced it all.
I mean, YouTube of like a half-done tattoo of my face on their thigh. I think it was someone from Brazil, actually. They are very passionate down there. But I mean, I would hate to. I mean, I just wonder what would happen if I ever got into that lady's presence. Exactly what would happen. Mind boggles.
I haven't really had too many of the crazy experiences with the fans. I think the guys get it a little bit more because, you know, in the beginning it was like the girls were like touching them, and after a while I was like, all right girls, you need to cut out the touchy-touchy. Sticking up being Emily right now. And so they got a little bit more, like there was no like Twi dads coming up and grabbing me or anything.
A vampire fantasy romance comes to an end. And how falling in love with someone in high society has its consequences. New in theaters.
After 18 years of being utterly ordinary, I finally found that I could shine. I was born to be a vampire.
So beautiful. We're the same temperature now.
I didn't expect you to seem so... you?
It's the epic conclusion to Hollywood's hottest franchise. Bella and Edward go off into the sunset in The Twilight Saga. Breaking Dawn, Part 2.
Every obstacle you faced, I think you couldn't overcome. And you just did. You were the reason I have something to fight for. My family.
It's crazy for me to watch that, of course. I was 17, I'm 22 now. I mean, it's definitely been a wild ride. I think that it's changed so much as well. It's like, you know, making the movies versus promoting them, and I don't know, I think the first one had its own very distinct feel. It was a couple of us holding this thing together. We didn't know if it was going anywhere else. It was kind of like a one-off. Give it everything you have. And also very much was in the spirit of the film. It was all about just feeling it and like not really thinking too much about it. And then as we moved on, it was like, if you don't have a sort of handle on what you're doing, you can't really appreciate it. And so to say that it's just a wild ride that you're sort of stuck on is not exactly how I would describe it, because I just think that we were just lucky enough to be involved in something that it never felt like we were servicing a product. It really did always feel like we were completing a process that we didn't really realize at first we got to finish. It was like a real serious privilege.
It's strange for a final movie in a series to suddenly suddenly introduce all these new characters and everything. And like quite complicated ideas as well into it, like in terms of the vampire lore and the mythology and everything. So yeah, I'm curious how people interpret it.
It's a strange feeling.
Yeah.
It is, because we have, the weird part is that we've been done filming them for probably almost 2 years now, but it's not quite over. We were all blown away with the reaction to Twilight, and it just kept growing and growing, and we just more fan support throughout the whole franchise. It's unlike anything I've seen before, and we truly couldn't have done it without the fans' support.
Oh, blessing. You know, I mean, I feel like I have a lot of wild rides in life. I mean, me being an actor is so left field from where I saw myself going that everything's a blessing and part of this. You know, so everything that comes with it, all the opportunities, just fuels my passion in life. And, you know, I love to travel. I'm such a people person, so it enables me and allows me to make more friends with the fans. So it's been, honestly, like a blessing, a magic carpet ride, a thrill, and it's just non-stop enjoyment.
To keep this level of intensity on the 5th movie, it's crazy. It seems like the audience has stayed exactly the same kind of ratio of young to old as well. They haven't got older or anything. It's just so crazy. And they still have the same reaction as well. I was doing this movie called Cosmopolis, and it's just so odd. It's a very, very odd movie, and kind of very different character. And then to see that, you can see this crowd waiting at the side of the set, waiting for, I don't know, like you know, signing Twilight pictures and stuff. And they're sort of watching, expecting Edward, and just thoroughly disappointed.
So irritate your eyes at first.
The main thing is not to move too fast.
Try taking a seat, crossing your legs.
After years of playing a human, Stewart finally got to become a vampire.
Maybe a tad slower. And blink at least 3 times a minute.
We definitely weren't milking it when we broke them up into 2. It was very necessary, I think. We're living in full-blown Twilight vampire world now. There's nothing holding you down anymore. There's nothing rooting it in a reality that we can relate to. And I think that that's what we built to. We fought so hard for an entire series to get to the point where you're just getting it all, being able to completely live in that world and indulge it. And I think that it's different.
Huge transformation for her, and I think the fans are going to eat it up. I mean, it's tough playing those. I mean, it is 2 different characters, and she has just nailed them both. And for fans to see her in this vampire mode is going to be crazy. She does it so well.
She's a tough vampire, and it's just great. I know she's been wanting to play a vampire for 4 movies, so it's great to see her play that second character that she's just been creating, and it's like a puppy just waiting to pounce on that squeaky toy. She's, you know, just excited, and that's why it was great to have that arm wrestling scene with her.
She definitely looks different in the first one. Especially even the clothes. It's kind of a completely different character by the end of it.